Q65 was out in December 2020. As Don was alluding to, is a scatter EME extreme weak signal. It is a 64 tone frequency shift keying. That's compared to 4 for FT4 and 8 for FT8. And it's really good at scatter of all kinds, tropospheric, rain, you know, ionospheric. TEP is trans-equatorial propagation, EME, and it is used basically 6 meters and up. Um, Couple of the unique things that are unique about it. FT8 is FT8. Q65 is not Q65. There are different transmit receive times, and then there's submodes. We'll talk about that a little bit. It has the ability to average signals over multiple cycles so that it can then hone in on or basically average out the noise and get better reception. Also, it has what they call a priori decoding. If you give it the name and grid of the or call sign and grid of the station that you're trying to contact, it will look for those and um, use that to improve the decoding. Um, so 6, 15, 30, 60, 120, and 300 seconds. And then these are the symbol rates, frequency, the individual of those 65 symbols. This is how wide they are. The submode is the tone spacing. So if it's A, which is going to be one symbol rate, they're basically pretty kind of packed together. And then you go all the way out to E, which is 16 times the symbol rate. Now they're spread out. Um, I'm speculating a bit here, but I think that that helps a lot with uh, when you've got Doppler shift and things moving around. It's probably helpful there. Um, so the modes are specified as a time and a letter. So 30A is 30 seconds and 1x symbol rate. 60C is 60 seconds and 4x symbol rate. Key thing here, the modes are not interoperable. If you're running 15A and somebody else is running 1660C, you might as well be talking two foreign languages. You're not going to be able to communicate. Then the total bandwidth that's required is 65 tones times the symbol rate times the spacing. So 30A is 217 hertz, 60C, 432 hertz. If you go all the way to 15E, it is 7 kilohertz. And if you go to 300A, it is 19 hertz. The it's capable of really, really good signal to noise. So, for example, FT 4 and 8 is considered minus 20 is considered to be the standard there. Whisper minus 28, Olivia minus 15. But with Q65, if you're running 15 seconds, you're minus 22. And here's where the priority helps. Basically buys you another, what's that, 1.5 dB. Uh, and if you've got lots and lots of time and you want to pick up something way out of the mud, you can go to 300 seconds and get yourself all the way down to minus 37 dB. I mean, that compares to minus 28 for Whisper. Um, if you fire up WSJTX and you say Q65, it will say it'll bring you up 38. And for 6 meters, there's two frequencies that are available. 5275, which is the US, primarily used in the United States, and 50.211, which is used more in Europe, although I've noticed that it it doesn't get as much usage. Um, And when Joe Taylor did his quick step start guide, he basically has these recommendations for the different modes. Uh, TEP, 15 or 30C, standard ionospheric scatter, um, you know, E, sporadic E or F2, 30A. Um, if you run a QRP, say 120E, when you go to 144 megahertz in general, the 60C is what is recommended. Uh, and if you want to start doing more exotic stuff, then you get different um, recommendations there. So when you go to set it up, and if you want, we can just kind of hold here for a little bit. There's really, most of it is going to be pretty much standard, just if you want to run 30A, but you need to change a couple of things. Um, One is turn on the VHF and submode features. That gives you some additional um, capabilities. Uh, Turn off the single decode. And because it uses averaging over multiple cycles, you don't want to disable TX after sending 7.3. You want to have the capability of sending multiple 7.3s. Yeah. And the decode here, you want to enable averaging and enable auto clear the averaging after decode. And it the recommendation in the presentation I ripped this off of was fast. I usually use normal. Unless you have a really, really fast machine, you don't want to use deep because it's really resource heavy. Okay. Yeah, so Jake was talking about scheduled stuff. You want to put in uh, the call sign, RX equals TX. Um, and the thing I put in here, except Rover, and if you're dealing with somebody who is especially on 6 meters, they have rovers who will go off and to odd rare grids and sit around and wait for pileups. And obviously, a pileup with RX equals TX was not a good thing. Um, F tolerance is really how close is it trying to line up when it's searching for the um, um, the RX signal. Obviously, if you have RX equals T, or you know what RX is, then you can set that pretty tightly. If you set it too big, then that can degrade the ability for it to lock in. Um, Max drift 0, I think that's used more on like EME. Um, and then generate standard messages. Yeah, so you just click on that, and now you're ready to talk with that guy. Um, Now, down here in the corner, you'll see a couple of numbers. These are the accumulated averages for the even and odd sequences. So as you let it run, you'll see these numbers start to increment. And then when you get a response, the number will reset back to 1 and then start averaging the next part of the sequence. And you can click on the clear average to clear that. Now in the waterfall, uh, part of the reason I had you enable those VHF modes was that it enables what is called Q65 sync. And when you do that, you get these two lines. The orange line is what is the chance that there's a signal that is decodable um, in the most recent sequence that you've gone through. So, like right here, it's saying, yeah, there might be something there. And A red line is the accumulated average. So you'll see the red line start getting bigger and bigger, as things start to hone in on a signal. Let's see here. Yeah, a priori and averaging indicators. So I talked about the numbers. When you get a decode, you'll see these Q numbers here. And those are indicators of the a priori matching and the averaging. So the Q numbers, Q0 means no a priori. Q1 means that it was looking for a CQ and it found a CQ. Q2 means that it uses your call. It's matching on your call being called by the other guy. And Q3 means that it's using knowledge of your call and the DX call. And then, the other elements of the messages. And the second number is the number of averages that it used to get that decode.
Oh.
And that's it.
So if it barely gets something on your first transmission, it'll remember that. On the second transmission, it might get a little more of your call sign or something or
Yep.
grid.
Yep.
And then when it finally gets them all, it can take. Somebody asked Joe Taylor, how many chances does it get to build up this average? And when you get like say Q3 and a star or an asterisk, that means 10 times. And it can go beyond that, he said.